I'm Damian McConn. I'm head brewer here at Summit Brewing Company in St. Paul, Minnesota. And just like to talk about our award-winning Pilsner here for a wee bit. This is a Czech-style Pils. It won a silver medal at the Great American Beer Festival last year. It's a very classically brewed and matured Pilsner. A couple of fun things about it. We use a type of malting barley called Moravian 37. It's grown for us by the cousin of the owner of the brewery here. Mark Stuttard is the owner, and his cousin up in North Dakota contract grows the barley for us. And it's got a really unique flavor profile. It's kind of a grassy type of malt that's similar to a traditional European Pilsner variety. I think that really lends a lot of credibility to that kind of classical Czech style approach that we're trying to adopt here. We use Vanguard hops for bittering, which is a kind of a nice, noble American hop. And then we use a lot of Saz at the very end of the process. It's our finishing hop, and then our Whirlpool hop. And then we use a classical European lager strain that's pretty clean, knocks out a little bit of DMS, but for the most part, kind of moves through that wort pretty aggressively, even at colder temperatures. We do a decoction mashing here at Summit. So essentially we would mash into mash tun 1, take about 10% of that mash, move it over to mash tun 2, do the decoction there, heat it up to roughly boiling, hold it for about 10 minutes, then pump it back. And then obviously that boiling mash will then increase the primary mash temperature up to the secondary mash temperature. Total mash time is roughly 2 hours, 20 minutes, 2.5 hours. So obviously it takes a little bit more time than say mashing an ale would, but we feel that decoction really is beneficial in terms of flavor. And also I think it helps with that malt in terms of extract recovery. And it's pretty traditional. It's nice to do kind of a traditional mashing approach for a pretty traditional beer. We also do an endosperm mash. We don't mash in the husk till the very end of the process before we mash off. Therefore we obviously avoid boiling any of that husk material, so we ensure we don't get any astringent materials, any tannins coming into the beer from boiling the husk. I think we're one of the few breweries now in the country that would do that endosperm mash. It's unfortunate in terms of timing for the brew day because we then can't mill in the next brew of the day. We have to wait till the husk case is clear, which obviously doesn't happen till the end of the mash, and 2.5 hour mash, you got to wait a long time before you mill in the next brew, which can slow things down in terms of throughput in the brew house. But again, it's part of that classical approach to making the beer. Czech Pils is a very delicate style. So if we kind of, if we screw up anywhere along the line, if we're a wee bit banjaxed here or there in the mashing process, it's going to show up in that final pint glass. So we're very careful to control both the temperature of the mash and also the time of decoction. We don't want to be boiling it for too long either. That's an important part of it. So I'm here with the finished article. This is what we end up with in the glass at the end of that 6-week process of making this traditional Pils. You can see it's pretty pale in color. We're basically using just that Moravian 37 Pilsner malt plus the decoction, try and get a little bit more color into the beer. So very pale, kind of a light golden in color. Carbonation is a little on the higher side, as you'd expect for a classical European Pils. Right out the gate here, we're getting a lot of spicy hop character in the aroma from the Saz. We're also getting a little bit of sulfur from the yeast. There's a very small amount of DMS in this beer, which I think personally is appropriate for a classical European style Pils. Very, very crisp, fairly low hop bitterness. Czech Pilsners are usually a little lower in hop character and lower in certainly bitterness than their German counterparts. Overall, very crisp, clean, a little spicy hop, a little bit of bitterness in the finish, and a little bit of that grassy malt character that I think kind of rounds it all out. So our Pils is available year-round in package format and bottles, and also on draft. And hopefully, if you can't find it at your local pub, you'll ask for it, and be able to have a pint together at some stage. Sláinte.